Just joined us, of course. Thanks for tuning in to Morning Live. Now, it's been a very busy week for the presidency, but what's new? President Cyril Ramaphosa, of course, received an interim report into the SARS inquiry, and he denies prior knowledge of the VBS scandal. And above all this, he's human and he has fallen ill. And we are now speaking to Khusela Diko, who is, of course, a spokesperson for the president, and she joins us now to talk about a variety of issues. Thanks so much for coming through.
Thank you, Sakina. Thank you so much for having us on the show. First
and foremost, we heard earlier on in the week that the president was unwell. How is he doing now?
Well, thanks for asking, Sakina. The president is well. He's recovering. He had been advised by his medical doctors to take some rest this week. And this follows an infection he had contracted earlier on in the week. But he's in high spirits, working as hard as ever, and there's absolutely no reason to be concerned.
That's good news. And getting straight into it, because there are so many issues, a myriad of issues. Let's start with the issue that I mentioned in the intro there, the VBS Bank. Professor Khusela Diko, he says President Cyril Ramaphosa knew about this VBS scandal. President has subsequently said he didn't know. So where are we now?
Well, the president is on record having denied all of these allegations that have been brought against him. In fact, it is our view as the presidency that when issues like this do occur, you do tend to have some people who want to shift the blame. The president has no knowledge whatsoever of any meeting where he was purported to have received a briefing on VBS Bank. These matters came to his knowledge earlier on this year, I think after his election also as president of the governing party. And when he took over as president of the republic, he requested a comprehensive report from Treasury, which has been coming, in various installments that speaks to the issues of VBS. So there's absolutely no truth in any allegation that the president had a prior briefing on the VBS matters.
So will the president then be taking action against Khusela Diko, the political analyst, for those remarks?
Professor Diko's remarks were particularly unfortunate, also because he would have gone to make some insinuations on why, in his mind, he thinks the president would not have acted on those issues. So the president has expressed his displeasure. In fact, my understanding is that he has even had a conversation with Professor Diko, or at least he had intended to have a conversation with him. He's not spoken of any action at this point in time. We're also aware that the Democratic Alliance is intending to put some questions to the president through the parliamentary channels on those matters, and he'll respond to those as they come to him.
Because it is the power of the perception that counts in this instance, because if the president does not act on that, then, it leaves people open to actually surmise whatever they will.
No, true, Sakina. But I think what concerns the president most has been the effect of what has happened at VBS. He understands, as I have said, that people are looking for scapegoats in this matter. But he said that the shareholders, the management, the people who were implicated should actually be the ones who should be stepping up and answering to these allegations. His concern lies with the poorest of the poor, the elderly, the depositors who would have lost their money in that particular bank. He's also been in an engagement with Minister Mkhize of Cocta, just relating to the municipalities who would have also had some deposit that's gone to VBS Bank. So that's his focus right now, that's his priority, but all these allegations, as they come to him, they will be attended to.
With regard to municipalities that invested in VBS Bank, and that, of course, went against the regulations, but it happened all the same. And earlier there were allegations that that was an instruction from the African National Congress. Has the president made any work of trying to establish what actually led to these municipalities investing in a mutual bank?
Well, I wouldn't have details of that, Sakina. What I do know is that Cocta as well as the Treasury are seized with those matters. As far as it relates to instructions and where they have come from, I think these investigations are supposed to come to the bottom of that. While I have no mandate to speak for the African National Congress, I am aware that they've said members of the ANC who are implicated must face the Integrity Commission of the African National Congress. But also I'm sure that as and when, there's any evidence that's brought before them about any involvement of the ANC, that will also be attended. The ANC in Parliament has called for a debate on those matters. So all of this must be ventilated, and we must be able to get to the bottom of what really transpired in VBS.
Well, let's move on to SARS. And, of course, calls growing for Tom Moyane, the suspended commissioner, to be fired. The president has received an interim report to this effect from the Nugent Commission. And where is the president's state of mind right now with regard to SARS and Tom Moyane in particular?
Well, the Commission of Inquiry into the governance of SARS and tax administration is still continuing. The President, as you say, has received the interim report by Judge Nugent. Now, that report is interim, not provisional, which means that it's final on the issues that it speaks to. The report that is expected in December will obviously look at other matters. So the President is studying the report as it currently stands. He has written to Mr. Moyane through his legal representatives, and he has asked for reasons why he should not implement the recommendations that have been made by Judge Nugent. So he's applying his mind. He's given Mr. Moyane up until the 26th of October to come back with those particular submissions. You'll know, Sakina, it's an ongoing matter. Mr. Moyane did not participate in the Nugent Commission. We've seen some media reports where they claim that they're not even aware or perhaps not even recognizing the reports. But where the President stands, the report is final as far as its recommendations are concerned, and he is now awaiting those submissions in order to take issues forward.
And to that effect, of course, you know, and this, of course, intertwines with African National Congress politics. And there is a school of thought that believes that the Moyane situation is a continuation of a purge of a Zuma faction within the ANC, and that the President is going according to the book in effecting this particular purge. What is the President's sentiment on that?
Sakina, SARS is an extremely important institution in our country. The work that it does, the responsibility that is expected of SARS, as well as the highest levels of integrity and ethics that are expected from that organization, is something that at no point would the President ever undermine. So he had made a commitment as early as in the State of the Nation address, and even before, saying that we need to get the South African Revenue Services back to its rightful place, you know, at the epicenter of our financial governance, where it is an institution that is trusted by the taxpayers to be able to effect development in line with what its mandate is, and to collect taxes, ensure tax morality. So it's not a political football that the President would play with at any point. So the work that is being done through the Commission, as well as the disciplinary inquiry into Mr. Moyane, is intended to ensure that we uncover all those challenges at the Revenue Services. And I think that the Commission is bringing those issues to the fore. So, you know, for anybody to want to imply a purge when we're doing the necessary work of resolving the challenges in governance in our state-owned enterprises is extremely mischievous.
Well, speaking to Khusela Diko, who is Cyril Ramaphosa, President Ramaphosa spokesperson, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue with this interview.